Okay, section 3.4 is on page 191. Talks about the area of a triangle. This is a very short section, very useful. A few formulas we need, actually a couple. Given a triangle, any triangle, with sides A, B, and C, if I pick an angle theta, where the angle is between two sides, and if I draw the perpendicular to the base, where that is the height, I know that the area of this triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. And the area of the triangle would be all of this. So there are two ways I could find this area in this section. Keep in mind, I'm given A, B, C, and theta, the angle between the two sides. C is not needed for this part, but for the second part. Well, area will equal 1/2. The base in this case, that's side B. The height, I'm going to figure that out. Since I am given this angle and this side, I'm going to say the sine of this angle theta is this h over a, and if I cross multiply, the height is a times the sine of theta. And if I replace that by this height, what would I get? I'll get the area of a triangle given two sides and the angle in between is 1/2 the product of the two sides times the sine of the angle between. And that's one way of me finding an area. And I'd like to look at a couple of problems, 7 through 14. Find the area of each triangle, round the answer to 2 decimal places. And if I pick number, let me do 2 of those. Let's say I take number 8, for example. Again, don't let the 3 throw you off. The 3 doesn't indicate this is a right triangle, and this is not a 3, 4, 5 common mistakes students do. This is not a right triangle again. Since they gave me the two sides and the angle in between, I could say area is 1/2 the product of the sides times the sine opposite of that, right? And since I am taking trigonometry and I know how this works really well, unit circle and all, I know the sine is 1/2, and that would be a 3. I didn't even need a calculator. If I pick another problem, if I want to pick a problem like number, one page, number 16, in which I have to draw this myself, well, a rough graph, again, it doesn't have to be exact, not to scale. A rough sketch. Assume this is a 1. And assume this is a 2. Oh, I don't know why I drew it that way. Assume that's a 2. And again, this is not drawn to scale, not a big deal. What matters is for you to see that if this is A and this is C, then B is the remaining side. The only thing that matters is that 10 is between 1 and 2. That's really what matters. And by knowing that, you know the area is 1/2 the first side times the second side times the sine of 10 degrees. And if I throw this in my calculator, round to 2 decimals, the area of this triangle would be, where is it? 10 the sine times, that's it, 0.174. 0.17. 2 decimals. Another way of finding an area of a triangle is by using Heron's formula. And Heron's formula states, given a triangle, with sides A, B, and C, the area is equal to the square root of S times S minus A. S's look like 5s. S minus B and S minus C, where S is almost the average. A plus B plus C divided by not 3 by 2. And that's pretty much it. Now, I provide Heron's formula on the exam if I ask for that. As for the other formula, you need to remember that or memorize it. And if I pick a problem like number 14, for example, if I find S, which is almost the average, that is 4 plus 4 plus 3, all divided by 2, that would be 11 over 2. You could leave that as a fraction, you could write it as a decimal, whatever makes you happy. And area would be the square root of S into S minus 3 into S minus 4 into S minus 5. So area would be the square root of 5.5 into 5.5 minus 3 into 5.5 minus 4 into 5.5 minus, oh, that should be a 4, I'm sorry. I got carried away. And area will equal, now your scientific calculator should look more like this. So you should be able to view, and you could throw that in one shot. You make sure that you know how to use your calculator. If I take this, and if I take 5.5 parentheses 5.5 minus 3, 5.5 minus 4, and 5.5 minus 4 again, and let me see how that looks. It looks like 5.5 times 5.5 minus 3 minus 4 minus 5, and another set of parentheses. That should take care of it. And if I hit equal, the area should be 5.56. So that's pretty much how it works. I'm going to do another one just to make sure that we're seeing this. So you want to use fractions. Basically play with your calculator and figure out how that works. And if I look at another problem, maybe number, let's see which one. Let's go by 3 sides since we already practiced that. So let's do maybe 20, I don't know, they're all the same. Maybe 26. And there it is again. Again, I could draw the triangle, there's no need. I know that I need to find S, and that is 4 plus 3 plus 6 divided by 2, which is 13 over 2, which is 6.5. And area is going to be the square root of 6.5 into 6.5 minus 4, 6.5 minus 3, and a 6.5 minus 6. And if I throw this in the calculator, there's my area, and that's pretty much the whole section. So now if I go for square root, and I'll throw a parentheses, and if I go for 6.5 parentheses, 6.5 minus 4, 6.5 minus 3. So your scientific calculator should be able to do this with ease. You should plug it in exactly the way you see it right there, and that's 5.33. And that should be it. Make sure you practice match the answer at the back of the book so that you know how to use a calculator. And if you're not sure how to do it, you're welcome to come and ask me in our discussions. I'll be more than happy to show you how to use any calculator. The homework on this section, this is 3.4 on page 194. Oh, I forgot to give you a page number, didn't I? With all the excitement. So this is on page 194. And I'd like you to do numbers, let's go 7 through 25, every other odd. That should be more than sufficient. And this concludes our next exam, exam 3 material. We'll talk about that in our discussion.